Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Berto is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As you know, folks, it's all about the coronavirus. It's all about the coronavirus. It's all about how we are handling it. Dexter Evans, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, all my listeners, watchers, all those good things. Thank you so kindly for being here. Folks, look, title of the show today is Coronavirus Unmasking Republicans and Some Democrats Alike. Bernie is right. But I don't want this show to be simply a show that's, we are attacking the government or whatever. What I want this show to be about today is what are we going to do as individuals? What are we going to do as community? What are we going to do to make sure that we don't allow this stuff to get the better part about us? But let's be frank. We better be frank in the way we discuss these particular issues because, folks, our country right now is in dire straits. And it's not just our country. It is the entire world. And the entire world is that way because of a lack of leadership, because of tenets that we put within our economic systems that in as much as we are supposed to be a coexistent, interdependent world, it is essential when creating these types of systems that we create backstops to prevent what is likely to occur from occurring. And it is possible, it's not an impossibility for us to have done that. What am I talking about? We sort of partly discussed that in the last show when we spoke about how America exporting all its jobs and all its resources and all of its manufacturing overseas made something like this more possible, made something like this a distinct possibility to affect not only Americans, but everybody around the world. And you know what? We are living through a man-made event. Yes, we didn't create the coronavirus. Well, at least we don't think we did. We didn't create the coronavirus, but we should have been able to mitigate its spread. But in a system where the only thing that matters first is profits, and when those who make the most can pretty much isolate themselves from the possibilities of the damage they create, then what we get is what we're seeing right now. What we get is the destruction of the body politic. What we see is the destruction of people's economies. What we see is the destruction of people's health. I want you to understand, people, this is no longer about individual politicians. This is about a system. This is about a corrosive system. You may say, but wait, Egberto, there have been pandemics before. Yes, there have been pandemics before, but never in the history of the world have we been as advanced as we are now to have the ability, to have the technology, to have the wherewithal to control it much better than we are right now. And that we are not doing that. That we are not doing that. That we are holding back so much because, well, corporations we have to make sure that in the process of fixing things, we don't put corporations at a disadvantage. We try to minimize what damage happens with them. And as much of what occurs in our society today, we can draw almost a straight line to what these people have done to us all. So people, my brothers and my sisters, this is your show. If you have something to add, if you want to talk about anything else that you think I'm not covering, if you want to disagree, because remember what Politics Done Right is all about. Politics Done Right isn't just about me getting in front of on this spiel and just saying this is the way things are. I like to ensure that we have other input as well. It's important. It is very, very important. Anyhow, the title of the show today is Coronavirus unmasking Republicans and some Democrats alike. Bernie is right. And this isn't particularly a Bernie pro show or anything like that. But because I could just as well say Elizabeth Warren is right. Because all progressives understand that humanity first is what we stand for. Humanity first. Everything else must be designed around humanity first. Unfortunately, that is not what we have in society today. Even as bills are written today to supposedly mitigate what the impact of this virus is going to be on our national economy and likewise our international economy, we are still making concessions and making sure we consider corporate interest first. Corporate interest first. We have to get away from that. And you get away from that by taking control, by not repeating the status quo, by not saying let's do things exactly the way we did it before. If we do things exactly as we did before, it is insanity to somehow come to the belief. It's insanity. It's insane to think that somehow we can somehow continue doing things the same way and expect a different results. And then look at people like Bernie or look at people like Elizabeth and say, oh, these are the fringe. When all the things that these folks are wanting is to say, let's think about humanity first. Let's think about human beings first. Let's look out for our people first. Is that so difficult? Anyhow, subtitle of the show today. Subtitle of the show is, and let me go ahead and put the show on the screen as I'm talking here so you can see what I'm scrolling through. Subtitle of the show is, even as coronavirus puts most Americans at risk, we find that Republicans and some Democrats seem to acquiesce to corporate wants. Bernie Sanders' policies are looking quite good now. Sadly, the United States' response to the coronavirus is as expected when one has a corporate-controlled government. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi gave the impression that the new coronavirus relief bill would cover sick leave for all employees. In other words, no one should fear staying home if they feel sick. It turns out one could drive a truck through the holes for corporations. Daniel Ledo believes that I think the title of this show should be Using a Crisis to Push My Healthcare Agenda. Mr. Ledo, I know that you're an independent person. You work for yourself. I care about you. I know that likely you don't have the best healthcare because you don't work for the right people to have the best healthcare that this society has to offer. If something goes down sadly with you, your wife, your kids, or anyone else, saying that my title should be Using a Crisis to Push My Healthcare Agenda, I would say I accept that critique with pleasure. I accept that critique with pleasure because all I care about is people, humanity, including you and your family. If by chance, as you roam Kingwood or elsewhere, you get the coronavirus, I would hope, sir, and I mean this from the depths of my heart, that you won't have to say, in order for me to care for myself, my family, my kids, everything that I have ever worked for, everything that my wife has ever worked for, everything that my kid would have worked for, would have to go to pay to try to keep me alive. Even you, I don't want that for. And as much as you object to Medicare for all, and as much as you object for what we are trying to get done in this country to ensure that all people are taken care of, because not only can we afford it, but it is deserved, given that as a part of society, we all partake and we all make it happen. There is not one billionaire that is deserving of what he or she has. Not one. Not one. It is all on the backs of us all that they make it. It's all what they decided not to pay us what we rightfully earned for them, that they are billionaires. Anyhow, I have a few things that I want to show you. First of all, it was a pleasure watching conservatives, in this case, what is his name? Not Chuck Todd, but one of the guys in Chuck Todd decided to come out and talk about the president the way he should. So what I want to do is I want to play that for you, and then we'll move on to the next one. But anyhow, here's how he described Donald Trump.
You know, David Brooks, I want to, this was after the Wednesday address. Noah Rothman in commentary wrote, there's no excuse for the kind of carelessness in a prepared address to the nation, much less one given amid emergency circumstances. The cumulative effect of these errors and compromise palliative measures was to leave the nation less confident than it was before Trump spoke. The president might have been better off keeping quiet. But the point is, it does seem as if that lack of confidence, and you start to see it, it's spreading with different people on how to deal with this crisis.
Well, we see it with every federal official. None of them can get out in front of President Trump, so they all have to hang back. I had a friend, somebody I care about deeply, call me last night saying he had a fever. And I had no idea what to tell him, like take Motrin, go to Netflix. It was very unnerving. And then your next instinct is, oh, I'm going to drive up and see him, but I can't do that either. Mm-hmm. And so this goes against human nature, that we can't really care about our loved ones. And I think it does flow from the top. And we have a president who doesn't feel the emotions of other people. And therefore, he can't read the country. 6 months ago, he can't say, wow, people are really hurting out there. People are afraid out there. I've got to act. I've got to act. He lacks that sense. And so he's not really seeing the country. He's reading what people think about him, which is all he sees. And therefore, all his reactions are late and deadened.
Exactly right. He has no feelings, no care for what's truth, no care for what ails us, no care for what's important. If you want to take a look at, what I did is got a montage of how irresponsible this guy is. Listen to these descriptions of how this guy speaks. Check this out.
This is their new hoax. We're finding very little problem. Now, you treat this like a flu. This is their new hoax. It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. This is their new hoax. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. This is their new hoax. Anybody that needs a test gets a test. This is their new hoax. I was honored to see that the stock market, you were mostly there with us, set a record in a short period of time, over a 45-minute period. This is their new hoax. We walked back. I said, so how did that work out? They said, sir, you just set a new record in the history of the stock market. This is their new hoax. Those great companies that were there, they couldn't have been too unhappy either when you think about it, because they're all very big publicly listed companies. This is their new hoax. Some of the doctors say it will wash through, it will flow through. This is their new hoax.
Folks, that is your president. That is our president. No care at all for humanity. Just a matter of, how is this going to really affect the stock market? How is this really going to take care of? It is sickening. It is ridiculous. I want to play you that instant that he gave on Saturday at the coronavirus briefing, because it is sad that this is how he thinks. It is sad. This is how he operates. Check this out.
We also reached an agreement yesterday on a new legislative package that will provide strong support for American families and communities in dealing with the coronavirus. So it was done very, very bipartisan. I want to thank Secretary of Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, who did a fantastic job and worked with Nancy Pelosi. Right. A lot of provisions in the bill which they're going to be discussing with you today. and the tremendous provisions. So that's something that we should talk about. I was honored to see that the stock market, you were mostly there with us, set a record in a short period of time, over a 45-minute period, that we had the press conference yesterday in the Rose Garden. That was a record, an all-time record. I think we should do one of them every day, perhaps. How about 5 times a day? We'll do one 5 times a day. But that was something to watch, and I had no idea. We walked back. I said, so how did that work out? They said, sir, you just set a new record in the history of the stock market. So that was pretty good. And those great companies that were there, they couldn't have been too unhappy either when you think about it, because they're all very big publicly listed companies.
And that is the thing. Think about all the things that one snippet that I cut out of that interview says. He's worried about the big companies. Oh, the big companies are going to be happy. Look at what happened to the stock market. It actually went up and the big companies are doing fine. And then he talks about, biggest stock market rise in 45 minutes ever. Oh, wow, that's great. People are dying. We don't know this. We don't know where this stuff is going. Today, the market has dropped another 10% or so, right? We are way past a bear market. And it's expected, It is expected for this to happen. So before the end of the show, I'm going to give a few suggestions that going forward that I think we should really heed, right? But in the short term, just understand that we are being governed by what one has to consider a sociopath. I just said that, and that comes up on the screen. Wow, yeah, exactly. We have got to understand that. And we have to understand that this though didn't start with El Señor Trump. He is just the instantiation of corporate control of your government, where nothing but profits matters. And if you doubt that, that is what part of the show is about today. Because, hey, Nancy Pelosi just came out on Friday and said, we have this great bill. Americans shouldn't worry about going out in the streets because they're even, a lot of people, even if they feel sick, they're going to work. They have to have their paycheck. They need their money. So they go out there. So now Nancy Pelosi said, hey guys, don't worry about it. We need to stay healthy. So please stay home. I am the leader in the House. I am going to pass laws to make sure that you are taken care of, to make sure that something that you didn't cause doesn't necessarily affect your personal economy. And then, after believing those nice, kind words, we get a story at Common Dreams that says, paid sick leave loopholes. There's a giant hole in Pelosi's coronavirus bill. Before Democrats come to the attack and say, Egberto, how dare you speak about our Speaker of the House that way? I want to tell you something, and I want every single Democrat to understand it. Democrats, we sell ourselves as honorable. We sell ourselves as looking out for the common man. We sell ourselves as being progressives. We sell ourselves as saying we are going to do what is necessary to uplift the working class, to uplift the middle class, and to move the poor out of poverty. That's who we are supposed to be. Unfortunately, that ended when Ronald Reagan came into power and Bill Clinton thought he needed to echo much of what he had to say, Ronald Reagan had to say. But that, if you want to learn more about that, check out my book, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, can be found on our store.politicsdoneright.com, where I go through in detail that all these bad things didn't start with Trump. What Trump was a consolidation. That everything just collapsed into his being because he represented everything that we had done to create the corporate state. That's what he is. That is what he is. So now, here's what we hear at Common Dreams. It says, early Saturday morning, the U.S. House of Representatives voted 363 to 40 to pass a coronavirus relief package days after the World Health Organization declared the virus a pandemic. The U.S. Senate won't take the bill up till Monday, that's today, because the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell decided to give senators the weekend off. Wow, they got the weekend off as Americans died. They got the weekend off as Americans were busy passing the virus along. More people getting sick. But guess if more people get sick, more in the medical industrial complex will make more money. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is facing widespread criticism Saturday for misrepresented what the legislation would actually do. In a letter to her Democratic colleagues Saturday, Pelosi wrote, I am very proud to write that the provisions we put forth with your input, including paid sick leave, paid family and medical leave, enhanced employment insurance, food security initiatives, and free and widespread testing are all included in this agreement. So she says. Then, the New York Times editorialized Saturday afternoon. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi early Saturday celebrated passage of legislation she described as providing paid sick leave to the American worker affected by the coronavirus. She neglected to mention the fine print. Look out, people. Whenever we talk fine print, things kind of get dangerous. A fine print for a Democrat should really mean we're actually providing more than we gave the impression that we're providing, but not in this case. Here's what it says. In fact, the bill guarantees sick leave to about 20% of workers. Big employers like McDonald's and Amazon are not required to provide any paid sick leave, while companies with fewer than 50 employees can seek hardship exemptions from the Trump administration. So here it is. The big corporations got saved. 500 employees or more, forget it. You don't have to worry about paying sick leave. But here's the kicker. If you're a small mom and pop, we suck it to you. We sick it to you. You got to pay the sick leave to your employees. But Republicans come to the rescue of all these other corporations now. We got to change it a little bit more. But guess what? If you can show us that it's a bit difficult for you, let us know and we'll forgive you. You can go ahead and let those employees stay home without pay or come into work sick and infect other people. If you're sick, stay home, Vice President Mike Pence said at the news conference on Saturday afternoon. You are not going to miss a paycheck. And what is that again? What is that called? Oh, that is called a lie. Because the law they just wrote, 20% of the people may get covered, but it all depends because, you know what? A lot of small companies that hire less than 500 people may just say, oh, I'm sorry, it's too hard on us. We can't do it, so we can't pay sick leave. I'm going to tell you what the repercussions of all of this going forward towards what I call a depression, which is where we're heading, is going to mean. And folks, if you want to give me a call and you want to object to something that I say, if you don't believe something that I say, give me a call at 646-716-5812. I'm ready to stand behind absolutely everything that I have saying today. Every day. 646-716-5812 if you'd like to give a call. The White House, okay, but that's simply not true. Sick workers should stay home, but there is no guarantee in the emergency legislation that most of them will get paid. The White House and congressional Republicans who insisted on the exemption as the price of bipartisan support for the legislation bear the primary responsibility for the indefensible decision to prioritize corporate profits in the midst of a public health emergency. The House's failure to require universal paid sick leave is an embarrassment that endangers the health of workers, consumers, and a broader American public. Here is what upsets me, including how newspapers write, specifically, let's say, the New York Times or whatever. Okay? Here's what upsets me. Here's a cop-out they give to Democrats here. Here's what they say. The White House and congressional Republicans who insisted on the exemptions as the price of bipartisan support for legislation bear primary responsibility for the indefensible. Stop. No. You have a majority in Congress. I don't care if it's a bipartisan bill or not. If the bill is humane, pass it. Let the evil ones kill it. And you bring it back to the House and you pass it again and you let the evil ones not do it. And when Americans go into a revolt and say, where is our support? Where is our help? You can immediately point and say, that help is being held up by those people you voted into Congress called Republicans. But as it is right now, Democrats are also complicit. I am not going to give anyone a pass who denied 80% of Americans, 80% of the working class, 80% of the working class was denied sick leave, which means they will run to work, sick or not. Let's understand what's happening here. It is easy to give a cop-out. It is easy to say, oh, it's the Republicans' fault. No, the Republicans just gave a whole lot of corporatist Democrats cover. Thank you, Republicans, for giving corporatist Democrats cover. And it's the same thing that we talk about with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. It is Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Biden. It's the same crap, right? Let me tell you, my brothers and my sisters, the policies Americans say they want, the policies Americans say they need, are the policies that are proposed by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That is a statement of fact. That we are getting things like, well, it couldn't pass through a Congress. It couldn't pass through a Congress because Congress. Look, if we decided to support these policies and support politicians who support these policies, and there are others who said they're not going to support it, it is because they're owned, enslaved by the corporatocracy. That's what it means. It means that they're enslaved and owned by the corporatocracy. Okay? And if that is the case, we vote them out. We vote them out. Hello, let me say hi to all my people that are coming in right now. Sorry for not acknowledging you guys in the beginning. Dexter Evans, welcome aboard. Danielle Ledo, welcome aboard. Get the Pitchforks, welcome aboard. Lee Grant, welcome aboard. Mike Cisak, welcome aboard. Lawrence Sims, welcome aboard. Let's see who else. I got Danielle Ledo already. Let's see. Kathy Courtney, welcome aboard. Let's see. Para ver, quién más tengo. And Daphne Delphine Chimbakala, welcome aboard. Anyway, people, brothers and sisters. Anyway, so I am done. Look, when you go out there, progressives, and elect Democrats, do not give Democrats a pass for saying it's the Republicans' fault. You know what the Republicans did when it was time to get their people into the Supreme Court, into all the benches in the lower courts? They said, hey, Lou Uriv, welcome aboard, Lou Uriv. They said, to hell with it, to hell with the filibuster. We want to pack these courts because we understand that eventually Americans are going to get so fed up that they're not going to fall for the fear tactics. They're going to just go all progressive. They're going to say, forget the fear tactics. We got to go. In other words, the fear that they have now that only Biden can beat Donald Trump will be gone. And they're going to say, we're going for broke. We want the next Bernie Sanders. We want the next Elizabeth Warren. That's what we're going to do. After all, going for safe didn't do a damn thing. Going for safe is not going to do it. We still don't get policy that supports us all. We still don't get policies that help the others. This morning I had a discussion with my wife, right? I looked at her. She said, who are you voting for in the Democratic Party, or rather this November? And I said, you know, I really, really want Bernie Sanders to win. Secondly, I wanted maybe Elizabeth Warren. Thirdly, I wanted maybe Andrew Yang to win, but it seems like it's going to be Joe Biden. And she said, so who are you going to vote for? And I said, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. And I said, because again, Bernie Sanders is a big boy. Yes, the corporatocracy and the DNC were instrumental in propelling Biden. But we as progressives should have known that is coming, and we should have been more aggressive. I wrote that on Daily Kos last night, and I said we should have gone for the jugular, because that's what Americans understand, the jugular. We should have gone for the jugular and really hit all those centrists up for the evil that they represent for the American body politic, with a smile, of course. We didn't do it right. We played safe. We played nice. We didn't go out and say, if you are supporting anything other than Medicare for all, you're supporting voluntary manslaughter. You are saying it is okay. If you go out there and articulate, we cannot afford Medicare for all, you are saying it is okay for us to allow other people to die. That is what you're saying. If we can't afford it, it means we are okay to have other people die. We can't afford it. Billionaires continue to accumulate all our wealth, but we can't afford to really heal or provide health care for the least of us all. It means what we're saying is it's okay for us to have an X number of people die because we don't want to tax rich people. That's all it means. And if you're a centrist and you're saying that, you're saying it is okay for me. Now, when you say, well, so then why are you going to vote for Biden? Well, I am not leaving the progressive movement. I'm staying with the progressive movement. So I told my wife, yeah, I'm voting for Biden. She said, but the way you talk, what about all those young people that listen to you, that they're going to throw their arms up and say, well, I'm not going to vote for. Then I gave her the story. And I want to tell you the story that I gave her. And I want everybody here to listen to the story in detail. Because it is something, first of all, credibility is very important. And if I go out there and I promote all these progressive values and then constantly say, what I'm going to do is just go for the best alternative, and realize that what occurs all of the times is that the best alternatives is always an alternative that leaves a hell of a lot of people behind. Because that's what we do. We leave a lot of people behind. So I look at her and I said, I can't tell my young followers that, I am voting for Biden. I need you to go vote for Biden. I said I did that during the Hillary Clinton period. After I was a Bernie Sanders delegate and Hillary Clinton became, and there are two reasons that I did it for Hillary. One is to honor my baby boomer sisters, because I understood that they wanted that to see a woman in their lifetime. And given that Bernie wasn't going to do it, I felt I owed that to my baby boomer sisters. I really do. Because, as flawed as I thought Hillary was definitely a better pick than Donald Trump, in as much as we were going to still get quite a bit of neoliberalism. But that said, I supported my sisters. I can't do the full support again for Biden by urging all those who respect my words to say, I want you to please bite your tongue and go out there and vote for Biden. And let me explain this. And for those that think, oh, Egberto, I can't believe you're saying that. Let me explain this, folks. Time and time again, those in the middle who are comfortable constantly tell the downtrodden, the young people, to please just go this time, go ahead and support this candidate. For us, we need it because it's better than the other. For whom? For you. For those people who are just okay. They are all right. They are making it. You're asking that the people who make the difference for you, the downtrodden on the left, that somehow they constantly come in your support and make life comfortable for you. Think. When have you made life comfortable for them? When have you said, I am going to bite my tongue this time, and in as much as I may not support all the things that you want me to support, they have always been there for me, and I will be there for them this time. Where is that? So I can't I will be supporting the ticket. But and down ballot, I'm going to be fighting like hell for down ballot. Please, folks, if you're just joining us, please share. I'll be fighting like hell for those progressives that are down ballot. I'll be fighting like hell for them. But I'll just be doing what I have to do for the neoliberals. Just what I have to do. Now, here's the deal. We constantly ask these people to work with them. But you know, I wrote on Daily Kos once and I said, to many people it doesn't, whether it is Donald Trump or Biden, it doesn't matter to them because they don't see a difference. And people explode. How could you say that? That is so stupid. My God, you couldn't be saying that, Egberto. Trump is much worse than Biden. And you're right. Trump is much worse than Biden. But understand this. And this is what I try to let people understand about not being able to empathize with others. When you elect Biden, those folks that are doing just fine, do just fine. When you elect Trump, those people that are, less people that are doing just fine, do fine. But you know what? They still survive, right? But a little less do fine. But these people here in the middle, they do fine, right? When you support Biden, these people in the middle do fine. But these people over here, whether it is Biden or Trump, they're screwed. All those student loans that we have been begging the people to help us stop the pilfer, help us stop the bankers from ripping these people off, help us do it. Come on, centrists, help those people, help these kids. You want their vote, help them. For those who want Medicare for all, I have stories and stories. I had a 26-year-old woman on my show. I interviewed her. Look her up on my show, please. She got interviewed. She felt a lump in her breast at 26 years old. She goes ahead and she's working, but she doesn't have health care. But guess what? She got another job, and that other job is starting in 2 or 3 months. So she's going to hold on with that lump till she finds out that she has health care with the big company that she got on with afterwards. So she holds on and she goes, and oh my God, it is a lump that has grown bigger. You see, I see these things. I hear these stories. I can empathize with these stories. I see what real people are going through on that side. And when you continue to ask them, come on, support the centrists, help us out. You are constantly saying, help this group out. These people here will just be fine. What about them? To them, whether it's Biden or Trump, they lose. You may lose if it's Trump, but if you want their help, support them. I mean, with Bernie or Elizabeth, everybody wins. Why can't you see that? You may pay a little more in taxes. You may pay a little bit more money here and there. Think about it, people. Stop asking, it is, to put it blunt, it is rather selfish to constantly ask those, support the ticket. So they don't get their Medicare for all. So they don't get their student loan forgiveness. So they don't get their tuition-free college. So they don't get their family leave. So they don't get their subsidized health care for their children, even as things cost more. And we, as those people that are older, were able to go to school at a much lesser cost. They didn't. So it costs them more. And who takes up the bank? Oh, the banks are willing to give them the money so that they are enslaved for the rest of their lives. And who's there to help them? Tell me. Everybody makes deals. When is the center going to make the deal with the left and say, for once and for all? I wrote an article for Daily Kos where I said, usually the center never has to worry about the left helping. But will the center ever support policies that help the left, that help those people that are downtrodden? Will they ever say, you know what? Yes, it may cost us a little bit more. Yes, that bonus that corporation would give may not be as high. Yes. But how many people did we save? I give my personal story of my daughter getting a stroke and having been in ICU for 3 days. I sat in a chair for 3 days. I slept in a chair for 3 days in ICU because I don't trust the American medical system. Okay? I sat in that chair for all this time. And, well, she's doing a lot better now. She goes home. And then the bills start to roll in. And she gets the 3 days that she was in ICU, she gets a bill. Folks, if you're just joining us, please share. Please share these programs. It is so important that other people understand what is going on in this system. And this happens to do, I want to jump to the coronavirus and say how it's going to create the depression in a little bit. But I got off on this tangent with the support issues. But, so, as it turns out, folks, she gets a $72,000 bill. And she has insurance with the school. She's a med student, but she's going to be responsible for a certain part of it. And I told her, beautiful daughter of mine, love you very much. Please, do not pay that bill. Accumulate all those bills and send them to me. So I am going to make a case out of it. I'm going to publicize what our healthcare system really looks like. My daughter, when she went to med school, she said, Dad, I am not going to be a rich doctor. You know why? I said, why, babe? She says, because what I want to do is I want to work in the places, I want to go work in areas that is neglected. Those areas that are neglected, that's what I want to do. I want to support people. Well, when she gets out of college, I want to see her hold on to that. She's going to be $500,000 in debt, and then with this, having gotten a stroke and these bills, even more. Will she be able to do the right thing? So we have all these realities that we have to think about. So please, for all my brothers and sisters that are so against Bernie or Elizabeth because they want to give free stuff. It's not free stuff. It's pay it forward stuff. Had my daughter had Medicare for all, had my daughter had tuition-free college to be a doctor, something that we're having shortages of right now, she would be off on her way to go into any indigent part of this country that needs a good doctor to support them. So I want you to realize what you're asking for. Folks, before I forget, I need to go ahead and do what I always do and say, please remember, this is a progressive show that needs your support. If you take a look at the screen, we have a store.politicsdoneright.com. I urge you, I ask you, I plead with you, I implore you, please support us by getting some of our rags I have going on the screen right now, our cups, our T-shirts, our books, that sort of stuff that we have at our store.politicsdoneright.com, that you can go ahead and get things there. Now, for those of you who want to become subscribers, scroll in. I made some adjustment to our programming. And if you take a look at the bottom of our screen now, we scroll all the important links down there, but I'm going to place them in again. And that is, if you want to be a subscriber of the show, please become a subscriber of the show. Support independent media, given real information. Go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Spell patreon.com/politicsdoneright. If you want to support our upgrade, what I call our media upgrade, we go out of town and do things as well. Probably won't be going out of town till the DNC, but you can support our equipment fund by going to gofundme.com/independent-media-upgrade. If you are on YouTube, you can go ahead and just click on that $sign and give us a super chat. Super chat goes a long way to help us keep this on the air as well. And if you want to give us a contribution, whether one time or monthly as well, you can go to paypal.me/politicsdoneright. That is paypal.me/politicsdoneright. But don't forget, please also go to our store, get yourself a cup, get yourself a T-shirt. Support this important information that we are doing to make sure our message gets maximal coverage. It's not going to be on mainstream media. They can't tell you about the drug companies ripping you off. Even though we pay to develop the drugs, they make all the profits from it. 50% of all drugs we develop with our investment. And when they sell it at high prices, we pay for those high prices. We don't get a return on investment. Even though the law allows for us to get that. That is what we have in our healthcare system. Likewise, they can't, if you take a look at any show on TV, they're playing advertising, they're doing advertising, and guess what? How can you talk against anybody that's advertising with you? You have to be careful on what you say, right? Well, that's not how it works with us. That is not how it works with us. Okay, thank you so kindly. I'm going to leave those products scrolling for a minute as I go into another portion of the discussion. Now, here's what we need, and I think most economists would talk about it. And I think what people are starting to realize, right, is that we are at a point where we have to implement modern monetary theory. A lot of people call it Keynesian economics on steroids. And what I mean by that is Americans are hurting because of a virus that has attacked and a capitalist society who has failed dearly in the way it is able to solve these problems, a problem that shouldn't be there. And if you go to the show that I did the last time, I explained how capitalism and exporting jobs have made this problem more difficult, worse than it should have been. Okay? So we explained that in the last show. But here's the problem. Notice the government is telling everybody as many as can to stay home, right? My wife, who drives school buses, is home. And they don't get paid when they're home. Additionally, all those workers that you see, unless you're a corporate worker that can work from home, etc., forget it. They are not going to be paid. What that means is it leaves a big hole in the economy. All that money that would have been circulating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times is no longer there. And that's a big chunk of the economy. If you look at downtown New York, where would be packed right now, it is empty. South by Southwest, the big concert in Austin, closed down. All these different festivals closed down. All these hotels, empty. All these airlines cutting between 50 to 75% of their flights. That's a material impact on our economy, and it's going to degrade into either a super recession or a depression. And the only way around that is to inflate the economy, to turn it, right? It's a man-made economy. And we know in a man-made economy what it takes to get it moving. And to get it moving means the government will just have to inflate money. It will have to throw a lot of money out to people, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per person, so that they can go out and spend that money to reinflate the economy. People say, "Oh, that's giving away free money." No. You see, what people fail to realize is their own worth. Giving people $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 is not free money. You're helping the entire system regenerate again. Modern monetary theory says where one sector is unable to provide, as long as there are not scarcities. And let's get clear here. The reality of this depression is not going to be because of lack of things to have. It's going to be a lack of people working to produce, right? So as soon as we clean out the virus, which may take some time, as soon as we clean out the virus, first of all, we have to have heroes that are still working. We still have to have farmers that are heroes. We still have to have the people working in these plants that bottle products, that create the food that we eat. Listen, this is a complex economy, and we have to make those people whole. Those people that are going to go out there and tin products, put products in cans that going to create the what is that called again? The Nupril or whatever that is to keep your hands sanitized, the sanitizers and all that. Those are the heroes in our economy while the rest of us get a chance to stay home, right? Those are going to be the heroes of our economy. But after that is over, the reinflation has to become, because the depression from the lack of circulation of money, from all the money that you would have spent that you didn't, for all the restaurants that are closed right now because you are now cooking all of your own food, you're making all of your own sandwiches, all those people are unemployed, all the places that they bought their products from are no more. And that doesn't reinflate. You can stop that almost instantaneously, getting it back up to speed and getting the supply chains back into speed will not be as easy as one would believe. So, folks, we have to be very careful in what we do. I don't see any super chats yet. Come on, folks, where are my super chats? Usually we get a few super chats by now. Just click that $ on YouTube and let's get some super chats. Anyhow, folks, so let's go ahead and, wow, I have a lot of messages. Let's go ahead and talk to my people. I have about, 6 minutes to talk to you on the messages. Okay, this is about government, not about community, says Dexter Evans. That is true, failing government. Daniel Ledo said, I think the title, we spoke about that already. Pitchfork says the profit motive does not support excess capacity in our system. That is right. You hit the money. Maximization of profits for the shareholder means having just-in-time inventory. It also means going to go ahead and do the best you can. Forget about the employees, forget about their healthcare, because that doesn't matter. One person once told me, the one thing about slavery, why slavery could not have lasted, right, is the slaves had to be taken care of. If they got sick, the master had to take care of the slave. Now, the current master, the corporate heads, no longer have to take care of their slaves, right? Why? Because if they get sick, they just throw them away. They get another person to come on in. At least if you own the slave, you had to take care of that person because that was your property. And remember, in America, property is a lot more valuable in the capitalist system than humanity. Remember that. Property has more value than humanity in the capitalist corporate system. Until you realize that, you won't think and take what's yours. Lee Grant says, the corona crisis has given man a common enemy, one that threatens our lives and our existence. One would think that all of mankind would unite to defeat this scourge. Perhaps in the future it will. If the crisis is used as a political tool with its attendant misinformation and half-truths carried by popular media, then quite likely people's lives will be at risk. If our goal is to help people, then we should act accordingly, uniting to look. I love that comment, Lee. You should have called and said those words out of your mouth, Mr. Grant. You should have called and said those words out of your mouth because it is so true. And believe it or not, in as much as I'm passionate in what I'm saying, that is exactly what I'm saying right now. And what I'm doing is calling out those who are evil towards those people preventing that unity. Pitchfork says, but public health emergencies require excess capacity, so capitalism isn't going to provide for that need. You hit the nail on the head, Mr. Pitchfork. Mike Cizek says, David Brooks is more conservative. No, he is a conservative. Lawrence Sims, well, Hillary told us that Donald didn't have the temperament to be president. She's right, but I don't know that, again, well, I won't go there for now. It is sad that the left-wing news media has been hyping the coronavirus together with the Chinese. Oh, boy. I won't go with that one. Let's see. Trump is a sociopath. We know that, Mr. Pitchfork. Daniel Ledo says, LOL, Egberto admits he is using the crisis to push his agenda and then deflects by attacking Trump instead of calling for unity. No, I don't want unity with Trump. Trump is not possible. That is impossible. Unity is a false expectation with Trump. Let's see. Lawrence Sims, shucks. Oh, Donald, don't you get it that you had the 4th largest and 7 out of 10 drops in. I like that, Lawrence Sims. You're my brother. I like that, brother. I like that. And as much as I think you're a little bit too much on the centrist side, I get your point, and you're absolutely right, sir. Pitchfork says, Michael Cizek, you actually think the televised media is left-wing? It's funny that some people actually say that. Lee Grant, Egberto, the propaganda runs deep, even for you. Come on, Lee. You know I love you, Lee, and you know you're wrong for saying that. You're really wrong for saying that, Lee. Mike Cisak, the left-wing media was big-time lying this weekend. No, it was El Señor Trump. Just look it up. I played it for you here. Can't you see, sir? Kathy C. Courtney, welcome, my dear friend. Okay, if we were a rigid leftist ideologue, I'd try to leverage the corona crisis in to grab for political power, then begin imposition of an Oh, sure. Michael Cisak says, why did the Democrats try to sneak abortion funding on... No, they didn't try to sneak abortion funding. What they tried to do is prevent you guys from saying, whatever has to happen, if there's an inkling that this can be used somehow to offset abortion, it's a no-no. Come on, it's the same Hyde Amendment crap. All right, Lawrence Sims, 20% is better than nothing, and a small business make up the workforce. And no, 20% is better than nothing? Come on, Lawrence. I prefer 100%, and we could get 100% by not falling into their hands. But what happened is a lot of Democrats are corporatists. So if you notice, Bezos was in contact with Donald Trump for a whole long time this week, and don't think he wasn't in contact with a whole lot of Democrats as well. Oh, you guys can't do that to our company. No, you guys can't do that. Come on, man. Wake up and let's be real. Lee Grant, one effect of the corona crisis is a big increase in the population of Monday morning quarterbacks. Yeah, you're right about that, and I guess you're meaning me too. I'll accept that guilt. Thank you for the link, Kathy. I'll go ahead and read upon it. Daniel Ladosa, are you ready to stand by immortality of your admitted decision to use a global pandemic to forward your political goals? Yeah, I know the answer, as a hypocrite will give. Okay, then I don't need to answer if you know the answer. Mike Cisak, there goes Egberto stating his opinion is fact. Actually, my opinion is based on fact. But yes, a lot of times it is opinion. So you're correct about that, Mike Cisak. Delphine Chimbacala. Hi, Egberto. I'm in France. Welcome aboard, Delphine. We're officially in confinement here. Well, then you get a chance to listen to all my politics done right, my dear Delphine. So go ahead and you keep listening, and please share it as well, Delphine. For those of you that are on YouTube, don't forget, super chat me. Okay, let's see. Lawrence Sims, while playing the game, how now many people will die? Can they not pass it and amend it to cover? Actually, you know what, Lawrence? That is what I think might happen, right? Because as people get out there and learn the evil that's within, I think they'll be forced to do that. So I think that, look, I am for passing it and then making it better. So you're right about that, my friend. I think you're right about that. Okay, let's see. Carol Kleps Barati, right on. Thank you, Carol. Daniel Lado, sometimes it is funny when you hear crazy. A little scary, but funny. No, sir, I'm not scary at all. I'm not scary at all. I'm a pussycat. Let's see. Tom Hines says we can always afford 1.5 trillion or find money for war in a moment's notice. You got the message of the day, Tom Hines. Your message is the message of the day, sir. A new poll, most Democrats are a lot more worried than Republicans. Democrats are freaking out. Yeah, we should. The Republicans are not worried because they believe in Trump. Of course they're not worried. Delphine Chimbacala, make case for Biden's cause. I do not know if the lesser of two evils. The court is the only thing. You're right about the court stuff. Okay, I'm running out of time here, Delphine. Let's see. I tell you what, I think I'm going to have to leave the rest here because we are out of time. Hey, Egberto, I'm a family doctor. I made the same choice than your daughter. I worked in a community health care center until December, earning very little less than for it. Thank you so kindly. I respect you so much, Delphine Chimbacala. Anyhow, folks, we're at the end of the show. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. But before I go, please don't forget, subscribe at patreon.com/politicsdoneright. But guess what? I am what? Out.